Welcome, virtual Y members. I welcome you to Gentle Yoga. I'm Jennifer, and I invite you to get started standing today on your mat. Perhaps you're on your carpet, and you could even step off of your mat for a little while and just be on the ground. We're going to warm up these 6 planes of movement from standing today. So a little bit of forward and back, a little bit of twisting, and a little bit of side to side to warm up the pelvis and the spine. And we're going to start standing. Maybe just let your feet land where they land. Perhaps kick the feet out a few times, nice and slow. Let the feet land where they land. No particular way for the body to look. Just let them land where it feels comfortable. Take a little sway from side to side. And create a feeling of grounding. And find some evenness and weight through the feet. Option to place the hands over the belly. Option to continue swaying, or perhaps you find some stillness. Option to gently blink the eyes closed. And I invite you to let me be your guide today. Truly, you are your own teacher. Show up in any way that feels better for your practice. Let your body show up in any way that feels better at any time, and explore any positions or postures further if that would feel better for your practice. And perhaps I invite you to come and stand in stillness, inviting your breath to move deep into the belly. Lengthening your inhales, lengthening your exhales, and bring some softness into your breath. Now I invite you to add a mantra into your class today. You can join me with mine if you wish. On your inhale, I am grateful. Exhale, for this body. Inhale, I am grateful. Exhale, for this body. I am grateful for this body. Perhaps use this mantra through your whole class today. Or perhaps setting your own mantra. What are you grateful for? Notice on the inhale, the heart lifts. Perhaps a feeling of openness, expansiveness. On the exhale, the heart and belly gently descend, rooting and grounding. Inhale, notice the heart lift. Exhale, ground through your feet. Inhale, draw it up to your heart. Exhale, ground all the way beyond your feet. Rooted in gratitude. And then we'll continue to add some gentle movement Slowly begin to wrap your arms around the lower part of your ribs. Tuck in, chin tilts towards the heart space. Inhale, lift and open. Perhaps the hands draw out and physically open up wide, gaze lifts. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, open, receive. Exhale, draw it in. Maybe you cross the hands differently each time as you open, as you cross. Inhale, open. Exhale, tuck and round. And then get really creative with this. Basically, it's a standing variation of cat-cow. Notice as you tuck and round, the pelvis gently tilts towards the heart, the shoulders draw forward. As you open, the shoulders draw back, the pelvis tilts forward, heart lifts, gaze lifts. And continue to make this your own creative expression. And then just come back to neutral. Maybe take a little bop from side to side. Notice as we kind of take this little step from side to side, we're going into this side body crunch, this lateral movement. And that's where we're going next. Bring your attention to your pelvis. Let the feet just land where they land. And maybe take a little bounce in the knees first. Kind of find some rebound through the feet. Maybe the shoulders begin to bounce. And loosen through the neck. And let's actually continue to loosen up the neck a little bit. Slowly begin to tilt the right ear to the right shoulder. Draw the right shoulder up. And slowly release. Other side, left ear, left shoulder. Maybe even finding a place that feels like a sweet spot you'd like to hold on to and release. And release. And look over right shoulder. Slowly come back to center. Look over left shoulder. And slowly back to center. Let's continue and release the shoulders. Draw the shoulders up as high as you're comfortable. This might feel a little awkward. Notice as you draw the shoulders up, you could jet the neck forward, holding space for this hunched over pattern. That's okay. We're honoring this contraction and slowly release. The release is offering the shoulders to come and relax and let go. 2 more passes. Draw the shoulders up as high as you're comfortable. Option to jet the neck out. Perhaps add the breath. Next, exhale. Release. 1 more. Draw the shoulders up. And release. And then bring your attention to the right side body. You could even squeeze from your hip all the way up right underneath the armpit. These are the muscles that we're going to activate. Opening up the side body, slowly draw the right side hip up towards the right side armpit draws down. Maybe that knee bends a little bit. And slowly release. 2 more times, draw that up. Slowly release. 1 more pass. And perhaps the gaze comes along and slowly release. Come right into the other side. Gently draw the right side pelvis up towards the right side armpit. Right side armpit draws down, opening up this left side body, opening up the deep intercostal muscles. Bring the head carriage along for the ride. Gaze can even lift. So we're Kind of adding on here. Slowly release. 2 more passes. Draw the pelvis up. Armpit draws down. Open up side body. Gaze lifts. Continue to breathe. And release. One more pass. And slowly release. Take the hands, place them at heart center. Perhaps the eyes closed. Perhaps you set an intention for the rest of your class. Perhaps you invite that mantra back in. I am grateful for this body. Adding on a twist. Gaze is following the tip of the middle fingers. Hands are landed at heart center. Pelvis is stable and strong facing forward. Add a little bounce in the knees. Make sure your knees are unlocked slowly. We're just working with this part of the spine. You might go just a few inches. Slowly begin to rotate towards the right. Slowly back to center. And switch. Slowly come back to center. Draw the hands out in front of you. Palms are still touching. Keep the left hand forward. Slowly begin to open up the right hand. Gaze follows tip of thumb. Pelvis stable, solid facing forward. Honor your range of motion. Stop where you stop. Once you feel that pelvis start to turn, that's your beautiful range of motion. And I'll demonstrate this on the next pass here. Slowly begin to open. Notice my pelvis start to turn. I'll come back. Honor my range of motion. And slowly come back. And then just let it go. Maybe just offer yourself a little bit of self-massage. And some extra care for your body today. Giving yourself gratitude. This beautiful body that we get to explore in and do all these beautiful poses with. We're going to break down mountain pose together. So come to stand on your mat. Perhaps feet are about hips width distance apart. I'm going to stand to the side so you can watch me here. And the gaze, let your gaze land out perhaps somewhere in front of you on the ground. Somewhere just in front of you. And I invite you to take your gaze off of your feet. Find something to focus on. Slowly begin to lift the right leg. Just a little ways. See how it's coming just a little ways off the mat, and slowly release. And then find that focal point to look at. Slowly draw the foot up one at a time. The idea is we're letting the feet land where they land. Everybody has a different bone structure, a different body posture. Some feet turn out a little bit. Some feet turn in. And the position of my feet definitely changed postpartum as the ligaments changed, and the body shape changes over time. The idea, again, is we're just letting the feet land under the pelvis, building body awareness. Let the feet land. Take a little shift from side to side. And then from here, perhaps you come and look at your feet. See where they landed. Might look different, might feel a little bit different. But notice how we've landed. Perhaps you found more grounding through the feet. We're going to find evenness and weight through the feet from here. Let the feet land how they land. Slowly shift from side to side. Shift forward and back. Finding our center of gravity. Find evenness and weight through the feet. Once you feel like you found that evenness and weight through your feet, take a little bounce, a little rebound, unlock the knees. Maybe take a little shift from side to side, loosen through the pelvis. Land. Inhale, reach. Reach up high. Exhale, hands to heart center. Sun breath. 2 more. Inhale, reach. Exhale. We're settling the shoulders down the back of the spine. Inhale, reach. Sun breath is a beautiful way to release the shoulders. See how they're lifted? Slowly let the shoulders release. Draw the hands out to the sides, palms face forward, receiving lift through the chest, heart space activated. Take an inhale. Exhale. Pause, draw in the navel just a little bit from here. Continue to breathe. Where's the right amount of effort to maintain the breath? Now lift the kneecaps, drop the quads, fire up through your glutes, standing tall, strong, proud, solid in your mountain pose. Roots grounded so deeply the strongest wind couldn't blow you over. Breathe at whatever breath pace feels supportive. 2 more breath cycles. I am grateful for this body. Inhale, I am grateful. Exhale, for this body. And release. Let it all go. Perhaps even just come back to a place of standing how you would normally stand, maybe while you're doing the dishes, standing in line at the supermarket. Just notice the difference. Mountain pose. Strong, solid, grounded. Notice how active this pose can be. You put all these components together. That layer of body awareness where we're honoring where the feet land. No way to look. Your beautiful mountain pose. 3 more breath cycles. And release. From here we'll come into forward fold. So find your solid, beautiful mountain pose. And bring your hands to the front part of the hip flexors. That little hip crease. Find mountain pose. Place your hands in the hip creases. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, slowly hinge through the hips. Begin to bend. Nice long spine first. Perhaps the knees begin to bend a bit. When the spine can stay long no more, continue to round the rest of the spine. Hands land where they land. Perhaps the hands have kissed the mat. Perhaps the hands wrap around the back part of the calf, if that would feel good. Breathe. Perhaps bend and straighten the knees a few times. Notice as you begin to straighten through the knees, maybe you feel some more length happening in your hamstrings. Maybe you feel it somewhere else. Notice what you notice. Perhaps you take hold of the elbows and sway from side to side for ragdoll. And come back into your forward fold. Maybe the hands are landing on the front part of the shins. Maybe they're landed on the mat. Next, inhale, half lift, lengthen through the spine. Long spine, tailbone through the crown of the head. Knees begin to straighten a bit, if that's available for your body. Half lift. 2 more breath cycles here. Strong, solid foundation through your feet. Find that evenness and grounding through your feet. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Coming to stand, bend through the knees, lengthen the spine. Use your strong bum to push you up. Inhale, reach up high. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll go through half sun salutation. We'll go through 2 with you all, broken down at a slower pace. So continue to breathe at whatever breath pace feels supportive through these 2. And then we'll go off on our own for a few, exploring in any way that would feel good and letting yourself be your guide. Find your strong, solid mountain pose. Inhale, reach, lengthen the spine. Exhale, nice and slow, hinge through the hips, long spine. Then continue to round, maybe a little bend in the knees. Inhale, half lift, continue to breathe. Next, exhale, fold. We go through these slower so we can build that body awareness. Continue to breathe. Next, inhale, bend the knees. Inhale, reach up high. Exhale, hands to heart center. Samastitihi. I am grateful for this body. Let's go through this next one a little bit faster, moving with the flow of the breath. We'll do 2 more on our own. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Take your time. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, lengthen the spine. Use your bum. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hands to heart center. Then go off and let's do 2 more. And move on your own. Perhaps you pause and explore in any position that would feel good. Perhaps you want to explore forward fold a bit further today. Perhaps you're familiar with your chaturangas and you want to add on. Perhaps the eyes close and you just find that connection through the feet, your base of support. And we'll land back and meet each other at the top of the mat, close to the top of the mat. Give yourself a little room. And loosen up in any way, perhaps a little sway from side to side. Some time for some free movement. Again, just honoring your body today. How does your body want to move? And we're going to set up for mountain pose. And all these beautiful foundations we've found, accessing these as we move into warrior 1. Ground through your mountain, and as we move into warrior 1, notice in mountain how the pelvis is solid facing forward. The pelvis is going to remain solid facing forward as we move through mountain, or as we move through warrior 1. So ground into your mountain pose first. Feel solid and stable here. Perhaps a little bounce in the knees. Unlock the knees. Ground through your right foot. Nice and slow, as slow as you can go. Take a step back with the left. Notice if you can step back while the pelvis is remaining facing forward. You can take fists and place them on the front of your hip flexors as you do this. And maybe you step forward 1 more time. We'll do that again together, starting from mountain. Option to have the fists right on the front part of those hips like headlights. Slowly take your step back. Nice and slow with control. Notice where the pelvis is landing. And then begin to bend through the front knee. Find evenness and weight in the front and back feet. Perhaps you straighten and bend that front knee a few times to build that body awareness of how the feet are landing. And once you've found that, bring your attention to your belly. Place your hands on the stomach. Take an inhale. Exhale. And then draw the navel into the spine. Pelvis, solid, stable. Continue to breathe. Inhale, reach. Exhale, settle the shoulder blades down the spine. Pinkies internally rotate. Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. 5 breath cycles here. Strong, solid, grounded, grateful. And drawing your hands into the waist. Maybe you lean into that front standing leg a little bit to find your balance and slowly step forward. And then we'll go to the other side. Find your mountain, ground through the left leg. Slowly take your step back. Bend through the front knee a few times. Find evenness and weight in the feet. Inhale, exhale, navel to spine. Inhale, reach the arms high. Exhale, settle the shoulders. Pinkies internally rotate. Adding on, fire up your back glute. Roll your thighs in and breathe. What's the right amount of effort to maintain a soft, slow breath? 4 more breath cycles. Hands to the waist and step forward. And we'll find tree pose for some balance. Again, bring your attention to your pelvis. Stable, facing forward. Unlock the knees, ground through the right leg. Take a little bend in the left. Come up onto the ball mound of that left foot. And then slowly begin to externally rotate the knee. Once you feel the pelvis start to turn, come back, honor your range of motion. And I'll show that from the side. Ground through your right leg, come up onto the ball mound of the left, bend through the knee. Slowly begin to externally rotate the knee. Once that pelvis starts to turn, come back. Find your range of motion. Pelvis firmly facing forward. Drawing the hands out to the sides. Tree pose, option to be here. This is grounded, strong, solid. Option to continue raising that left foot off the mat. Placing it on the inside of the calf, or perhaps the foot continues to draw all the way up the inside of the thigh. As long as you're not putting too much pressure on the knee, it's pretty much okay wherever the foot lands. Option to reach the hands tall. Option to flow in the wind. Trees are not totally still. There is some wind, so grow your tree in any way that feels good. Slowly draw that knee back in. Find a little further balance in one leg Tadasana and slowly release. I know that was a little bit of standing on the right leg. It's a nice way to break it down, and we can go through the left side a little bit faster. Ground through the left. Take a little bounce and unlock the knees. Ground through the left leg. Come up onto the ball mound of the right. And then slowly begin to externally rotate the knee. Find your range of motion. Draw the hands out to the side. Tree pose. Option to breathe here. 7 to 9 breath cycles. Option to continue drawing that foot off the mat. And slide the foot up, if you will. Notice as the pelvis moves as you slide. So honor your range of motion. Pelvis is firm, solid, facing forward. Option to grow your branches. Be playful. Draw the navel into the spine. Fire up your standing glute on your standing leg, supporting your balance. And find something in front of you to focus on. A focal point you can stare at to help with your balance. That could have been noted in advance. Slowly draw the knee in back to center. And option to be here in this one leg Tadasana. And slowly release. Let's take some free movement. Swing from side to side. Perhaps you come back into your forward fold. What would feel good? Your space, your body, your practice. Coming into half moon. Ground again through mountain. Inhale, reach. Hands to touch, or perhaps imagine holding a ball, if that's where you're at today. Again, just honoring your beautiful range of motion. I like imagining I'm holding a ball. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, slowly bend to the right. Pelvis solid. And breathe. Option to lift the gaze, open up through the heart. Inhale, reach up tall. Exhale, switch. Nice and slow. Option to clasp through the hands and perhaps pointing the pointer fingers together. Many different variations for half moon. Let's flow with this. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, right. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, left. Slowly begin to unwind. Maybe the range is taking a little bit slower each time. Perhaps the eyes close. I am grateful for my body. Once you've come back through center, draw the hands back to the heart. Samasthiti. And for a moment, come back to your intention. Note if it has shifted or grown. And perhaps it's dissipated and become something new. And taking a moment to honor our beautiful bodies, what they do for us, their beautiful ability to heal and restore, restructure itself. And on your own time, coming down into a seated position on your mat. And just take your time. We're going to come into cobbler's pose. It's from your seat. If you have a blanket and that would feel more supportive for the length of the spine, you could take a blanket. You could even take a rolled up sweatshirt or anything that you can aid right up to the back of your sacrum. That's just an option. Taking the feet and placing them together. Shift forward and back a few times. Finding connection with the sits bones, the bottom base of the pelvis. From there, lengthen through the spine. Draw the hands around the outside of the shins. Cobbler's pose. Option to add a fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, slowly hinge through the hips, walking the hands forward, nice long spine first. When the spine can stay long, no more, continue to round, perhaps entering bound cobbler. Hands can wrap around the feet. If you have much hip mobility, you could splay the feet open, allowing for the hips to rotate outwards. Forehead lands where it lands. Maybe it lands on stacked fists. If you have a block available, you may or may not, you can let the forehead land on the block. I like the stacked fist version, or just letting the forehead land where it lands. Perhaps you walk it back a little bit. Honor your body, your range of motion. 5 more breath cycles. Allowing your body to show up as it wants to. Are you comfortable in bound cobbler? Perhaps you come back up. Next, inhale. If you're folded, slowly coming back to neutral. Send the legs long. Point and flex through the feet a few times. And we'll come down onto the back. With the feet placed on the mat, reaching the hands forward, find some length in the spine. We'll use some core. Slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. Come down onto the back. And the feet are planted, knees are bent. Walk the feet forward and back a few times. Let the feet land in a place that feels good. No need for the heels to be tucked into the bum. Let them land where they land. One at a time, slowly draw your right knee into the body, hugging that knee in with your arms. Maybe you take hold of the back of the thigh. Perhaps you find some length in the left leg. I believe this is called wind release pose, but anyway. I like to call it just one knee to the chest. Slowly release. And start with that released leg, the foot that's landed. Start with it on the mat first. Just kind of give yourself a bit of time to let go before lengthening. Draw the opposite knee in. Perhaps hugging that knee in. Or wrapping around the back side of the thigh. And notice what you notice. You feel any gripping in the hips at all? Or in the hip flexors? See if you can release first. And then continue to draw the opposite leg out long. And slowly letting that knee that foot land back at the mat. Placing both feet on the mat, knees bent. Drawing the hands out to the sides at a T, palms face up for a feeling of receiving. Palms face down may aid in a feeling of more grounding. Slowly begin to wave the knees to the right. Gaze shifts towards the left. Move through a few of these nice and slow. Drawing the knees back to center, gaze center. Slowly let the knees wave in the opposite direction. Gaze moves in the opposite way of the knees. It's a flowing restorative twist. Option to continue flowing in this restorative twist as long as you wish. And perhaps you take your time guiding yourself into Shavasana. You're at home in your own safe space. Take your time here. If this feels good and you want to just continue exploring this for a few minutes, do that and then show up in your Shavasana. Moving towards final resting pose. Again, continue as long as you wish with this flowing twist. Eventually sending the legs long. If that feels good, hands can draw into the side, maybe a little bit further. Palms face up for a feeling of receiving. Palms face down for a feeling of grounding. If the low back feels compromised in any way with the legs long, take the feet, place them on the mat, and then internally, as far as you're comfortable, rotate the knees together, taking some pressure off the low back. And perhaps for a few breath cycles, just letting the breath soften, become smooth before you let that go. Breathe at whatever breath pace feels supportive. I am grateful for this body. Rest and restore here, and I'll call you back when it's time. Note, you can stay here doing whatever you're doing as long as you wish. If you'd like to come back into your day wherever you're at, perhaps rolling to one side, taking a pause in side lying pose. Left side, feminine side, perhaps some more calm, creative energy for the rest of your day. Right side, masculine side, perhaps some more energy and stamina for your day. And coming up into a seated position, and taking your time again. And drawing the hands to heart center. I am so grateful for all of you virtual yogis, wherever you're at and wherever you continue to come in and join me. I'm so grateful for being able to be here and share this beautiful practice of yoga with you. Yoga means union. Wherever you are, wherever I am, we are united. I am grateful for you. And I am grateful for the Y for providing this beautiful virtual practice that's accessible to everybody in our community. Have a beautiful day wherever you're at. Thank you.